Yo, 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 guys, what is up? And welcome back to another episode of the Warriors Invitational. It's your boy Gotham, my boy Matt. Matthew, welcome back, brother. Missed you on the last episode. How you doing, man? Welcome back to the show.
Dude, doing good, man. I was telling you a little under the weather. That's about it, man. Feeling good though. Besides that, ready to talk some dubs before this fucking gauntlet of a road trip, man.
Damn right, damn right. Welcome back. It has been you're coming back at the right time, Matt. We got some fun stuff to talk about on this episode. Chuckster, we missed you on this one. Work schedules didn't work out, but we'll get you. We got another one coming here. A little back-to-back pod recording sesh here on an election night. So everybody out there, get out, vote, do your civic duties. Whoever it is for. No judgments here. But yeah. Anyways, Matt, it's been a fun start to the season, man. Warriors 6-1. We missed you on the last one where we talked the, I think before the road trip, before that Rockets game. So right after the back-to-back Pelicans wins. And so a lot of stuff's happened. The Warriors, a couple more games under their belt, a couple more wins, some fun basketball being played so far all around, man. But Matt, talk to me, man. Talk to me through just your thoughts a little bit before the season, or sorry, before the road trip, those two Pelicans games, and then yeah, to give me your takes on the last few, and we gotta ask the question, man. How are you feeling? Are you a believer in this 2024 team, Matt Cardoza? Talk to me, man.
I'm gonna go with the last few before we get into that question. This team doesn't suck. I'm gonna start there, right? They're 6-1. But bad teams don't start 6-1. Um, I think that win against Houston is probably an underrated victory, to be honest. Like Houston's solid. I think they're top 10 in both offense and defense right now. You got a lot of young guys though. The rest of the schedule has been cake though, right? They had Washington. They handled Washington. I think they covered that game. Beat the Pelicans twice back to back. No matter what you say, beating the same team twice in 2 nights is hard. It's like that second team usually is ready to come back next game and kind of show it to you. And I want to be clear, the Warriors didn't have the best two players in those games. And you can talk about injuries and whatnot. The Pelicans are super injured, but to go into that little baseball series without having one of the two best players and taking both is huge. Um, Now, as far as like, am I a believer? So I'm gonna phrase this in the context of being contender or not. I think. Okay, so no, I'm not a believer in that sense. I don't think, as of right now, I don't have enough evidence. If they come out of this stretch in a way that's super impressive, then we'll talk a little differently next week. But they got to beat some good teams, man. You've also seen this team kind of look somewhat anemic on offense for long, long stretches. We saw it happen against Houston. They blew a 31-point lead. I don't think the Warriors scored a field goal for like 6 or 7 minutes. And I think that's actually happened to them twice this season. Um, and so you can kind of see some of the cracks, right? They don't have a guy who they totally trust, creating shots for others. But I gotta say, Kuminga on the bench is looking pretty fucking nice. Okay. Uh, when they went to him twice, I think a little bit in that Washington game, but also in that Houston game, right? He was the guy in overtime, and people kind of there was a little like, oh, Steve Kerr closed with Kuminga at least. I want to just point this out. I'm big. This Kerr's having a great year. This team is like he's pulling every lever the right way. He didn't get Kuminga out there until like half his roster fouled out, and then he had kind of no choice, and then it looked kind of like the reverse Denver game of last year when he benched Kuminga for the fourth quarter after the guy had like an 18-point third. It was kind of the opposite version of that. But Kuminga got in there and he is like, I don't know. Chuck's got these stats ready to go, but that mid-range shot's looking nice. That little turnaround midi fade is looking like really good. Um, and that's kind of one of my other takeaways that the Warriors, I'm a believer in their depth. I'm a big believer in this team's depth. They have legit 12 guys, whether or not they consolidate that or not, how far they can ride that, I don't know. But I believe in what they have so far as being a good regular season team. I'm gonna just cut this short now by saying not a believer as far as being a contender goes until they win, one or two of the next three. But where are you at? Because you I already know you're fucking riding sky high, man. This has got to be crazy.
Dude, well, I mean, that was, yeah, that you summed that up well, and I think that you have a very pragmatic approach, and I think that's kind of the way I genuinely feel, in terms of as a senior contender, but I definitely am a believer now. Like I believe in the squad to not only be like a good regular season team to, be in that top six, but I think they can really compete for a top 4 or 5 seed
Can you
right
talk
now.
me into like give me the optimistic Gotham take of like this team actually is a contender? Like it's Steph, and then what else is it that's like that's telling you know this team can do it?
Yeah, I mean, so like fully healthy, like I think, yeah, there's a lot of this is contingent on Steph being healthy, and obviously, we miss him for a couple games, so jury's out on, what type of a Steph Curry season we get, and if he's, it can be a good thing if Steph misses some games, and these guys can win too, though. So like those two Pelicans games, the Rockets game without him, just go being up 30 something, coming back and losing that lead, going to overtime, and still pulling that game out. Like last year's team loses that game, like even with Steph and everybody playing well. So like, there's definitely like this team is very much has a lot of upside in my eyes. My optimism comes from two places. One, I'll get into like what I've seen, but I just think the West isn't as good. Like it's deep, don't get me wrong, but the top of the West is not as far away from the Warriors as I think we might have thought
It's
coming.
one team. The top of the
It's
West is
yeah, it's
one
the
team.
Thunder. It's one team, it's the Thunder. And look, man, for all intents and purposes, they're still a young team who has gone through one, playoff run where we saw it last year. I mean, you could see that inexperience coming. And granted, we that's how a lot of these great teams start. You go get punched in the mouth, like Denver last year or the last couple of years before they won the championship. Obviously, the Warriors with the 2012 runs and after that. So, we know all it takes is, 1 year for a team to really solidify themselves. And so I think the Thunder have earned that, being that cream of the crop in the West so far, and they look like it. But other than that, like you see teams like Minnesota, Dallas, Phoenix looks really good. LA's, they've shown, they looked all right. Memphis has been, up and down. Houston. So the Warriors are right there with those teams in my eyes. And I'm fully a believer in that. And so just watching, like you said, with the games without Steph were big for me, just with being down double digits to New Orleans, coming back, and then taking care of business the next night could have easily been a trap game. No Steph, you're going on a road trip. No, you never know what happens. And defensively, Draymond really took onus on that end. Held Zion to like 5 for 20 or whatever it was. And then the first two games on this road trip, I think we expected him to be Washington, and got Steph back, was able to kind of ease him back in. So, didn't seem like a, serious injury, ankle wise. So just got to monitor that. But man, the guys like JK, Moody, Buddy, Kyle Anderson, like you said, this depth of this team is crazy. Like they could miss 3 or 4 guys on any given night in the rotation, and it won't feel like anybody's missed a beat. Like we missed Wiggins for a game, Kuminga was there, Moody was there, Buddy Hield stepped up in a huge way to be that secondary scorer. Do I trust Buddy Hield to be a 20 plus point a night a guy for the season? No, but do I think that they have other guys on the team that are going to step up scoring wise? Like we've seen Moses. I think Moses has been fantastic, just knowing when to drive, knowing when to shoot. It feels like every shot he takes is a good one. Anytime he goes to the hole, good things happen. Kuminga, I think he's embracing that bench role, and I think it fits better. You're able to start whoever it is at the two. I think Melton is going to be a good option when they come back. I like that they're still keeping Buddy on the bench, coming in with that second unit as that kind of microwave scorer. And, Loon, GP2, man, I know those are two guys that we wrote off in this season or coming in and guys that were expendable. And obviously, we'll see how it works out just in terms of what this team makes. But, man, they've been fantastic too. Looney's fucking rebounding like it was 2023 in that King series. GP2 is looking like his 2022 self. And they just look like a more cohesive team. And I think the biggest thing is their defense, man. Like defensively, they're doing this night in, night out. Like they're able to string together stops. They're looking like they're just on a string, attacking people, forcing a lot of double teams. They're blitzing dudes way more often than, yeah, I mean, I can remember at least from the last 2 years. So it just feels like the product is more replicable. They're getting out and running, they're getting out in transition. They've got guys that can shoot. And so yeah, I think the biggest issue I saw was when Steph wasn't out there in that Rockets game when they were making that comeback, it did look clunky. So, do I, and I think that's how it's going to be as the season plays out. We're going to have times where, guys aren't hitting shots or they're getting these turnover kind of spurts. But overall, it just seems like they have enough depth. And I think that, a lot of teams don't like, no, I don't know. I don't know much around the league right now, but I can't tell you another team that has, 12, 13 guys ready to go. Like you have Lindy Waters who can come in and change the game for you like he did against New Orleans. So the depth of this team is definitely its strength. Do I think they need to make a move to consolidate? I still think jury's out. Like I really want to see I really want to see how they look in these next couple days or in these next couple games. They're playing the cream of the crop over the next five, really. So it's going to be a really good indication of what this team looks like. But look, man, if you have 13 guys and if everybody's bought into the fact that, hey, like every night might not be my night, but when it is, I can come in and make an impact. That's huge, especially if you're trying to get through a regular season with 82 games and preserve Steph and Draymond and have their legs fresh for a 16 game run in April, May, and June. So I'm a believer in the fact that this team can really make some noise and really have a really successful regular season to really tee up another fun playoff run.
And you pointed out that like it's just this team is different, right? They're not like not to compare too much to the last couple of years. There's a big difference in team that's like when things are falling apart, you can look at these guys last year and be like, these guys are all thinking to themselves like Draymond fucked up, right? Draymond fouled out and fucked us, right? Clay's shot selection fucked us. Chris Paul can't stay in front of anybody. We're sloppy. We can't guard, right? Whereas this year, they're I don't know if they're as talented per se, but like they very clearly want to win for each other, right? They're playing a fun brand of basketball. There's not any finger pointing, it seems. They just seem like they're good to be out there and they're use the word connected, right? Used it defensively, but I think it works just as well here as it does anywhere else. Man, this team is just Draymond said it to start the year, immaculate vibes. They look
Yeah.
happy. And this is an interesting thing that Slater brought up or Thompson brought up a while ago. It was something along the lines of like this team does not expect to win a title. And I'm not saying that's a good or bad thing, but I do think if their expectations are like, let's be a good basketball team this year and let's play good defense and shoot a lot of threes and see what that gets us without any expectations, you're kind of seeing what that looks like. It looks a lot more free and a lot less intense, and also results in these like are Draymond and Steph right now the most sloppy they've been. Is this
Yeah,
like they,
1000%. And you know what? It doesn't even feel like the rest of the team hasn't missed a beat. Like I feel
truly?
like last year, and I can't really. I feel like 2023 as well was just pool there. But if Draymond and Steph were setting the tone with the turnovers, like the whole team felt like it just felt like everybody was turning the ball over that night. This team, like Draymond's had some sloppy passes, Steph's had some miscues, just kind of like they have just vet guys who know how to play, young guys who have been in the system, ready to go, and like it just feels like this team, like you said, just hasn't missed a beat. And also, I just want to point out, like the last time they didn't have like they had a team that kind of looked like this and they didn't have title expectations was 2022 and they won the title. So like I think the way we view this team in that lens, like it's easy to now look back and say, oh, like 2022 they started off, hot and whatever, but like that team coming in, like they started off 18-2, but they took advantage of their schedule. You kind of saw it from the get-go, like, hey, this team can, put together stops, they can hit threes. Steph obviously had a really hot start to that season. But they had the depth guys. You had guys like JTA, D. Lee, Jordan Poole obviously making that leap, and Wiggins making that leap down as the season kind of progressed, being an all-star. So, you're seeing that you're getting Wiggins looking, much more confident. The best he's looked in 2 years, since especially since last year. You've got Kuminga, Moody, who've kind of stepped into that JP-esque role. Pause has been great. TJD's been great. So, like, it's like I said, it's not. I don't know if I can believe that they're a contender. I think the West. I think the Thunder are better than anybody that was in the West at that time. In 2022, it definitely felt way more wide open. But that's not to say that it doesn't feel like they're like this Warriors team is going to be good enough to put up, a 50 plus win season to get a top, 3, 4 seed as they did last time. And then once you get to the playoffs, it's kind of like let's see how this dance like unfolds. But yeah, I really like I forget where I saw it. It might have been 95.7, one of their segments, but just kind of looking back to that 2022 team, man, I think it's gonna be a fun kind of way to not necessarily like stack this team up in terms of if they can win a title, but it's really just can you replicate it? And that team in 2022 could play a certain style of basketball every day, and I think this team can do it, especially on the defensive end. I can't. I'm not I don't have the numbers like Chuck, but I feel like this team so far looks better defensively early on than that 2022 team did. So I think if they can, they're the only them, the Celtics and the Cavs, I think, are the only top five offense and defense right now in the league. And so yeah, 7 games, not as much. Like there's obviously a lot more sample size you can get, but to be in that like top three in each so far in the season, I mean, you can ask for a better start and you can ask for it to look any better and like going into it.
Yeah, I like that you also said you talked about stacking up wins right now, dude. A win's a win.
Wins a win,
Bad
man.
boy
Like
promise
we
for it.
blow too many games last year to like not be um
Truly.
half like fucking thankful when they don't blow. Like I fully expect like we were up 30 and we were watching that game. I was watching one of my buddies and he was like, dude, they're gonna blow this. And as they started to do it, you believe that you're like, dude, yeah. As soon as they cut it to 16 or something, like, yep, okay, this is here we go again. And so to get over that hump early on, didn't have to like, take you can take notes from a game, but it's always better when it's a win. So you have, obviously you can learn a lot from that game, but it's still a W. So if they're able to do that, and yeah, we'll see how they look against the cream of the crop, but they're going to be able to play night in and night out against whoever's out there. So wherever that is, they may not be on that elite tier as we kind of see the season unfold, but they're going to be in that very good tier. So
Yeah. It
that's gonna be fun to see how that shakes out.
it seems like this team, like when Steph plays, if they can win, like two-thirds of their games. Let's play Steph plays 66 games, right? They win 44 of those games. That doesn't seem crazy to me for one. Um, maybe like 40 of those games, right? And they go, 500 in the games he doesn't play, which in
They're
that
already
case,
3-0 in the games he doesn't.
you're
So like,
exactly right. So, but let's say you go 500, right? That's 16 games. You're at 48 wins right there, right? That's just like this team. I think actually can stay. And we're going to talk about this guy in a second, but they have the guys to cover up for Steph and Draymond. I think to keep things level. They're not going to thrive without those guys, but they can be a good ball club without them. But with that being said, it's been a fun stretch. You've mentioned 13 guys, and it's not we're not fucking around. There are 13 guys in this team. I don't hate. This is the first year I've never hated a motherfucker on the Warriors. It's the first time I have never hated someone, and it's fantastic. Okay, there's no Kakamaker, there's no Chioza, there's no sorry Nico Mannion. I hope you're doing okay in Italy. Who am I missing, man? Who else is on this list that I
Kelly
just
Oubre.
I liked Kelly. I liked Kelly. I'm not
Okay,
gonna ever
fair,
on Kelly.
fair.
Yeah. Kelly shot
Michael
0 for
Mulder.
48 from
Michael
three, and I
Mulder
still
was
liked him. Michael Mulder, yeah, garbage time Steph, man.
yeah. Oh man.
There's none of those guys in this team. There's no one of this team that checking the game. Oh, Dario Saric last year. I was ready to fucking cut my own Achilles every time he stepped on the floor. Okay. The Warriors don't have one of those this year. Okay. Sorry, Dario. I hope you do well as well, man. It's not personal, but who's your guy right now that you're like, oh, I'm really enjoying this player so far, and I didn't necessarily expect to.
Man, dude, there's a lot. Like I've been genuine. I've been happy to by my Pods takes. I think Pods has been fantastic. TJD, JK. Man, I just
Gentry's
want.
one.
I know. I want to go. I could even pick Lindy Waters in here, man. I want to go with Moses, man. I want to give Moses his flowers. Like I've loved what Moody's come in and done. Just being. I really want to see him at that two guard, but actually no, I can't. That's way too. I gotta go with JK, man. JK off the bench. That's been really impressive. Like obviously it's a contract year for him, and obviously everything going on the off season, and coming in the whole clunkiness of that initial starting lineup. JK didn't have to get off to the greatest start. Took the benching and strat. I feel like Draymond said it best. Like it was really just like more a spacing issue. Steve Kerr said too. It was more a spacing thing than anything. It wasn't a knock on Kuminga, but everybody made social media is what it is. People made it out to be a benching, and he took it in stride and has had his best games of the season since. Um, we said it in the offseason, man. Like JK is going to dictate where this team really can end up. And if you get a guy like JK who's coming in, can be that, bench anchor with a guy like Buddy Hield, who can come in and really just in an offense where, you're not going to be playing with Steph. You can play with Buddy, get a little bit of space. And when you do play with Steph, Kuminga's gonna have all the space in the world. So it's really just like, man, if Kuminga can consistently be that, six man type of a guy who can come in, he's gonna close a lot of games. Defensively, I still think is a work in progress, but I think offensively, he's really showing that he's grown. And if he can be a consistent, 18 to 20 points a night off the bench, man, like look like now you're really cooking with fish grease because now it's you've got Kuminga's giving you stuff. Wiggins looks fantastic. When he like just energy wise, I know it's been up and down with some games shot wise, but I think his rebounding numbers are up. It just looks more engaged. Buddy Hield, man, coming in, and so you add JK to that mix on top of guys like Steph. And Draymond's been fantastic defensively, so I think JK's been the X factor for me this season, and like coming into it. And so if he's able to continue to play like this and really carve out that second unit. Because, like you said, there's going to be times where this offense looks really clunky, and if Kuminga can kind of go drive to the hole, he's been really good with that little power dribble, juking guys off and going for layups. He's been finishing a little better. The shots there, I mean, he's confident to take it. So like overall, man, JK is the X factor for this team in my eyes of where they can end up. And so, just for him to come off the bench, I think it's been solid, and we'll see how he can continue to do so. But yeah, of the options that were available, I'd give JK his flowers.
So yeah, don't need to add a whole lot. I mean, he's the last few games since the bench has been awesome. Um, Listen, there's no commentary on JK beyond uh, what you said for the most part. I do want to point out like that initial starting lineup it was the worst starting lineup for him.
I
To be
love
fair, he
how we
could not
thought
have
we.
been.
I love how we. There was a moment where we were front running that one. That was
Oh
good.
yeah, that was great,
Good
man. It
call.
was a
Called
huge
it. Yeah,
defensive lineup, and we're like, yeah, but they got stops. They just couldn't score, so they were
good
losing
score.
quarters like 15-4. You know what I mean? It just wasn't good for him, right? You mentioned the Buddy Hield pairing, the Steph pairing. When it's like there's some actual space out there, how much better he looks. Uh, he's just like he looks when he's playing the way he's supposed to, which is just dog walking guys to the basket. He's so strong, man. He was putting Kispert in the basket last night. Uh, Against Houston, it was everybody, man. Nobody could just deal with him. It was awesome. So I think it's an awesome pick. And I still think, long term, and I'm talking long term for the season, he's their best bet at like reaching their ceiling because we see it right now. He's uh, next to Wiggins when he's really going, but I think even a different way than Wiggins, he wants to really forcefully get to the rack. And on that note, I do want to just point out that Wiggins has been attacking the hole a lot more and very intentionally,
Mm.
which is awesome. But it's just not something he's like comfortable with doing. You can tell, right? He doesn't have a lot of fluidity down there. Whereas Kuminga like wants to be down there and he's finishing so strongly. Um, Love it. And my pick is not going to blow anybody's mind, but it's alongside Kuminga. You mentioned this pairing. It's Buddy, man. I truly could not be more impressed with the Buddy Hield era, the way it's beginning in Golden State. The guy's averaging 22 points a game, close to 22 points a game, pardon me. He's shooting 9.5 threes a game right now and making half of them. Uh, Listen, it's 7 games. I want to be clear. He's doing Clay's job. Like you can hate on it. He's doing Clay's job.
Ooh, yeah.
He's spreading the hell out of the floor, man. He's getting buckets off the bench. He's playing defense. You can say he's not been incredible, but he's hustling
Dude,
out
he
there.
can move. He can move laterally. He's
Yes.
attacking guys off the dribble. Like the shooting is one thing, but the athleticism and just the tenacity, I guess. I don't know, lack of a better word, but like he's moving and like love Clay, but like Clay wasn't like, you couldn't play Clay on an island with these guys like last year or 2 years, like since the injury. Nothing against Clay, obviously, but love the guy, but he's just fits in a little better right now.
He's holding his own, and by that, all that means is he's working, right? And he can move a little better than against towards guards like than Clay could. I'm not saying he's blowing the world on fire with defense, but uh, he's working his ass off. He's grabbing 4 or 5 boards a game right now. Uh, he's like a Jordan Poole, Clay Thompson combo from a couple of years ago in some ways. Like and he also, to be clear, this guy is shooting the piss out of the ball. We can't say enough. 50% from three so far, 9.5 attempts a game. Like that's insane. And he is truly thriving off every Warriors action, man. Those loony screens are doing him such dirty justice. It's awesome to see. Uh, Truly, it's like again, like you said earlier, I don't expect this guy to average 20 plus points a game throughout the whole season, but I do think he can be 16 to 18 points a game. And I do think he's going to be coming to the game. Like he's going to create a lot of opportunities offensively for guys like Steph and JK and Wiggins. He'll close a lot of games, especially if the defensive effort keeps up. I forget what game it was a little earlier. He got targeted a lot. It's going to happen sometimes, and he'll get sent out of the game as such. But as of right now, like Buddy Hield has, like they're not 6-1 if he's not playing. And there are very few guys that you can
Absolutely.
toss a hit spot where they're doing what he's doing. And you call him off the bounce. He's going to the rack, man. His handle's not crazy tight, but if you're not a good defender, he's blowing by you. And he's finishing. He threw down a dirty dunk the other day, man.
Dude,
I didn't
he's
know
got like, I mean, I forget, was he on Indiana or Philly last year where he could
Philly, the Indy before Philly, then
he
Sac
was
before
he was getting
Indy.
he wasn't getting minutes on Philly, I think, in the playoffs, and I remember when we signed him, that was kind of the first thing I thought of. Like, okay, man, I guess he can't play his way on the floor. Probably a defensive thing, but man, like just like you said, it's been 7 games, so it is early. But just the early returns on Buddy has been fantastic, and um, yeah, I mean, I like you said, just he's a guy that you need these points, like, and he's hitting them, and it doesn't feel like it's kind of a fluke hitting. Like Buddy's a sniper, like he's a knockdown shooter in his own right, and the way that Draymond's finding him off the streets, he knows how to run off screen. You've seen him kind of navigate some back picks with Looney or Kyle Anderson or Draymond, whoever's there, and he's just kind of like how Clay and Steph used to do it when they play together. Like it's gonna be you know, nothing comes again. I don't want anybody to be like, he's replacing Clay or we whatever. Clay is stamped. This is a different team. But like you
Oh no,
said,
all I'm saying is he's doing the job that Klay Thompson would normally do.
100%. And
Space
I
the hell out of the floor and shoot the hell out of the ball. He's
And he
doing those
fits in
things.
with this team. Like he fits in with what this team is trying to do, and like the defensive part, I think is the most underrated because you can really now play him in closing lineups. You can have those like quote unquote death lineups where you have all that shooting and Draymond at the five. So like there's a lot of different things that Buddy being playing this way unlocks for this team that has won them championships in the past. So it's an insane threat to have on your team, especially with the way he's been playing.
With that being said, I do want to see how Buddy Hield responds. He's got Lou Dort and Caruso and Jalen Williams and Drew Holiday and Derek White chasing his ass around for a whole game. I want to see how it goes, but thus far, man, as far as I'm concerned, the job is done. If he can keep his team afloat offensively when Steph's not there, and they go 500, let alone 3-0 when he's out, when Steph is out, I don't care. That's fine.
Love it.
Accepted.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree. And you brought up some guys on some teams here. So let's get into our the final part of this show. But man, Warriors got a gauntlet. I think you said it earlier as we started off. Gauntlet of a 5 game stretch. And we looked at this road trip before and the goal was 2-3, 3-2 type of deal. But they're going into the three hardest games and then coming back to two more tough ones. But to close out this road trip, they've got Boston tomorrow night, Wednesday. Then they've got Cleveland, and then finishing it off at OKC. Um, and then they come home to Dallas. Welcome back, Clay, and then a matchup with the Grizzlies. Both of those are the NBA Cup games. So Matt, talk to me about the end of this road trip, and we'll touch on the other 2 games as well. But what does this stretch mean for this Warriors team? Because obviously, like you said it earlier, like they've shown that they've played well, but they haven't really played anybody yet, and so this is going to be their first test of playing teams with a combined record. I think the Celtics are the only one with a loss in there. I think they're like 21-1 combined all three in some shape or fashion, something like that. So what does this next three like the close of this road trip mean? Also given that they won the first two on the road already. So in the context of the road trip and then also just what these games mean, like what do you want to see and what are you hoping for?
So I always think back a few years ago, man. I forget what I said. It was like, what do you want to see? And I said a win, and you guys laughed your asses off at me because it was just I was dead serious, but I didn't add anything to it. Uh, yeah, I mean, here's kind of the deal with this. I don't expect the Warriors to go 3-0 here. I don't expect them to go 2-1. If you made me bet on all these games individually, I would bet on the Warriors losing if you put a gun in my head. Um,
Fair.
but with that being said, like they got to win one of these games. They don't got to win two. These are literally the three best teams in the league right now, right? None of these games are on first or second nights backs to backs. They have a day of rest at least in between all of them. It's a road trip that sucks, but you gotta listen. If you are not, I'm not saying great team. I'm saying if you are a really good team, if you're in that second tier we're talking about, truly, like you got to beat some good teams, and there you have a lot of opportunities in this road trip to do that. Um, so they got to come out and beat one of these teams. It's weird. I'm probably circling Cleveland or Boston for a win. Jalen Brown's out on Wednesday. That's a big miss. Cleveland's awesome. They don't concern me too much as far as matchups go. OKC, man, that could be a really tough night for our friends, the Warriors, man. But no, I mean they got to win one of these games because I don't. And yeah, if they win two of these, we can have a talk about what this team is long term, right? This season. And if they win all three, then all of a sudden it's like, hey, then it's actually time to start talking. Like, hey, this team has real expectations. But as far as this team is a top six team in the West, top five team in the West, win a game over these next three. Um, That's where I'm at. My expectations are low, like I said, but they got to win one.
Love it. Love it. I think that's totally fair. And yeah, I think in the context of this road trip, like winning one more would give you a 3-2 road trip. You win a 5 game road trip. That's huge. Just morale wise, looking back at the early part of the season. And then I think they'd be at that'd be 10 games after this stretch. So you'd be, 7-3, 8-2 type if you're 9-1, insane. But I think just from a record wise, I think if you can win one of these next two, I'm with you. Just 7-3 after your first 10. Solid start. That's exactly kind of how you want to draw it up. If you looked at the schedule, those would probably be where you'd expected your first couple losses were coming. So everything would be right on cue. But yeah, I think for me, I really just want to see how this team looks playing better teams. They could lose all three for all I care. And if it's competitive, if they have chances to win these games, and they're just in there, I think that's a win in itself. It's still so early, and Cleveland and Boston are two teams in the East, so you're not going to see them until they come to the Bay. So not going to put too much stock into an early season matchup with an Eastern Conference team. Granted that they are really good, but if you're able to play well and you don't pull it out, it is what it is. But it really depends on how it looks. Like last year we went to Boston and they for like 50 balled us. So like, that
Also, though, Warriors got them in Golden State.
that is true. That is true. They did win a close one at home. So, but yeah, again, so like you're going into Boston. Jason Tatum's got his whole like revenge tour thing. Like the Celtics hate us right now.
I've
Overrated.
never been less scared of a player on who wants to
Yeah,
win.
I mean, it's like
Not
all
my
right, man.
whole
Like
fandom, man.
do what it takes, man. Whatever needs to, whatever gets you going for the pregame. Like cool, man. We'll take it. Like.
I sincerely hope again. I don't expect the Warriors to win, but when I tell you nothing would please me more than Wiggins putting Tatum in
Oh,
jail.
dude, cinema, man. The absolute cinema. And I mean, look, Wiggs looks great. So like, that's what I'm saying. Like, Boston's obviously good, and then, but you know, they're they're beatable. And I think that this Warriors team, at least depth wise, Jaylen Brown's out, so they've got the defense. So I think hang with these guys. We'll see what they can do offensively. Boston obviously is a fantastic defensive team, so we'll see if they can stay in there on the offensive side. But I think they'll be able to hang with them defensively. But yeah, I think this stretch is just important for not only as fans but for the players, man. Like if you come back and you beat Boston and Cleveland, or some combination two out of the three. If you're able to take two of these three, you're like, hey man, like we're right there. If not, and if you have a guy like Steph and Draymond on your team, and they're seeing that, hey, we can hang with the best of them, like they already, that they're
You're either beating the defending champs or one of two undefeated teams in the league. You know what I mean?
exactly. And so, like, regardless of what comes away with this trip, I think if Steph and Draymond are able to leave this, or Steph especially, if Steph's able to look at this team and say, "Hey, we just hung with the best, like, three best teams in the league. This team is good enough to compete." Not that it's going to change anything on their mindset, but now like Steph is playing like hey, I've got a chance to, really do something here. So, I think it's just going to help to like push along what this season looks like, and really just build on a lot of this momentum that they have. And then again, you come back and play two Western Conference teams at home. Obviously, it's the NBA Cup, the IST games. So, Clay's coming back. You play in Memphis. So again, it's just a good barometer test for this team, and really like you said, really can we start having a conversation of, what is our expectation now? Because, if it is championship, then now you're really in a conversation for, what does this team need to do to really maximize this?
Gotham, this team goes 2-1 over that stretch. What happened?
Oh, I think they beat Boston. Boston somehow doesn't get over their Steph Curry nightmare as of yet. I think they lose to Cleveland, and I think they beat OKC. I mean, Draymond had some comments about the OKC like post game interviews and how they do it all together, something like that. Kind of sounded like some old head hating some young heads type of stuff, but it is what it is. Um,
So
I don't really like it either, I'll be honest, but it is like a little cringe. But hey, just a little fuel to the fire, I think, for a young team that wants to come in if they shut Draymond up a little bit. So. But I think they win that game. I genuinely think that they. I don't know. It's weird. I feel like when the Warriors started coming up and they went up against the Spurs or maybe the Thunder or like the Miami Heat, like LeBron team, like it just felt like one of those better teams. Even if you had all the stuff, like it just felt like when those better veteran teams that have done it before come in, like there's a little bit of Like they just kind of put you in check. So if this Warriors team's legit, I'd love to see like Steph and Draymond kind of show these young guys and be like, hey man, like you still got to go through us. We're still like, we're still here. It's not your time yet, type of deal. So I think it'd be fun to see Steph and Draymond go back into a building that they've had a lot of postseason success in and some great memories. To just put the tame the little young guys. Young guys are literally my age, but like the next guys on the block, just be like, yo man, it's still our neighborhood.
Relatively young. Yeah.
Yeah.
I Yeah, I think Boston's a good shot. I think what I more so meant is like what were the Warriors doing well. But with that being said, I will just answer that myself, I guess. Like I think it's their
Oh,
defense.
I see what
No,
you're.
you see what I'm
Oh,
saying though, but no, we're good
yeah,
though.
yeah,
I
yeah.
like your response though too.
Totally missed.
That's very
Totally missed
specific
it.
though. No. It was a wonderful miscommunication, we'll say, because I like what you said afterwards. Um, and it was all topical too. I think it's also worth pointing out that the Warriors just absolutely shot themselves in both feet against OKC last year, two times. So hopefully some feelings of revenge there on their part. But yeah, if this team has a good stretch, I think this defense is like legit, like really, really good. I also just want to point out, man, Steph has traditionally just he has lit up guys like Drew Holiday and Alex Caruso. So going into these matchups, I am excited to see our guy Steph Curry against the best defenders in the league. Uh, as far as which teams the Warriors beat, like I said, Boston's up there. I'm going Cleveland. Um, I have a hard time thinking that they have any shot. I know I just said what I said, but Caruso and whatnot, but this OKC team's fucking so good, man. They're so
They're
good,
stacked. They're stacked.
so deep, and
I
they're kind
think
of
I
like the
think the
Warriors.
realistic is honestly that they beat Boston, funnily enough, and then they lose the other two. But I mean, we'll see. But
It's just the depth of OKC, man. They're kind of like
they're
Warriors
good.
2.0.
They're very
You know
good.
what I
They're
mean? Like
very
the
good.
Warriors can send out, they can platoon the hell out of this shit. It just feels like the Thunder's platoon happens to have, absolute
Better. Yeah.
bulldogs like Caruso and Lou Dort in their chamber, man. Who I think, if there's one guy on earth who I don't want to punch me in the face, like Lou Dort's on the top of that list, it's probably him, and I don't know who else is there, him and Shaq, but maybe like size people. I'm not like size with Lou Dort. That's a lie. Nobody's seen me from the neck
No, no,
down.
they haven't
Yeah.
seen your traps yet, Matt. Come on.
Cool, man. Let's go. But yeah, that's where I'm at, man. I'm looking forward to it. I really want to see what this team does. Um, You said make it close. I said 1-2. Uh, let's see what happens, man.
Let's see what happens, and let's get a prediction for this Boston game like, tomorrow night, in the Garden, where obviously 2-ish, a little more than 2 years ago, one in the number four, and obviously Boston defending champs. Matt, give me your prediction, man. What are we feeling? Do the Warriors continue this winning streak?
I don't know what to do with this, man, because I don't like these motherfuckers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I hear you.
And I kind of think Jalen Brown's out. This team's really good. This team's really good. They're great, in fact. They're the favorites to win the title. They should be. They've earned that. I think I'm picking the Warriors, man. I don't know. I shouldn't do that because this is how I tend to hurt myself. Um, but I'm going Warriors over the Celtics. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna say 114, 107.
Nice.
Uh, I think Wiggins puts Tatum in hell, man. I think that's what's gonna happen. I think this is the best version we've seen of Wiggins in a long time. I think Tatum's reclaiming his real estate. Oh, sorry, pardon me. Wiggins is reclaiming his real estate in
Williams Island, baby.
in the skull of Jason Tatum, man. So that's where I'm at. I'm going Warriors over Celtics. I will regret this within the next 24 hours from the Warriors. I guarantee you this time tomorrow, the Warriors are down by 40 points. That's my second guarantee. So
Would be
uh,
would be
you go
cool.
ahead.
Dude, I love it. We got Matt picking a W in the Garden. That's awesome. It's game 8, man. You're a believer. You just don't know yet, man. Um,
All right.
Nah, I'm with you, bro. I think they pull it off. Like you said, Jalen Brown's out. This Celtics team is obviously so very deep. They're gonna just spam the shit out of these threes, and if they get hot, it might just be GG's. But no, I think I'm with you. I think the Warriors have. I think everybody except Melton's there, so they're gonna have their whole arsenal of guys to throw at them.
Melton playing?
No, no, everybody except Melton.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, and so I think defensively it'll be fun. Like you said, I think they're going to be able to clamp down on that end. It'll be interesting to see offensively, if JK can get going, if Buddy can continue the hot streak. If Steph has another a big game in the Garden, then obviously, I think the Warriors. Also, I feel like the Warriors aren't going to waste like Steph big games this year. Just on a completely side note. But I think we could be due for Steph hasn't had a marquee game yet to start off this year. Obviously the injuries and stuff, but no better place to do it. ESPN, Garden, prime time. So yeah, I take the Warriors in a Steph Curry vintage Garden performance, and I'll get take them 118 to 109. Let's actually scratch that. They're not winning that close. It's gonna be 118, like 113 Warriors. But yeah, they'll go 7-1 into Cleveland, and then we'll reassess. We'll give our predictions on Twitter, depending on how this next game goes. But before we get out of here, Matt, fun episode, brother. Good catching up with you. Anything you got coming up? Anything you want to look forward to? What's your biggest I guess what's the thing you're looking forward to most before we record next?
With Warriors.
With the Warriors, or hey man, life in general too. Let the people know. You got something on in the works.
I love a good 3-day weekend, man. This weekend's Veterans Day. I love that. It's my favorite. That's not my favorite. That sounds like that's not the case. I love a 3-day weekend, right? No matter the context, I enjoy having that Monday off. So personally, I'll go there. I'm looking forward to this election being over for sure. I'm sure everybody else is in the entire country as well. Um, as far as the Warriors go, man, again, I can't say enough. I am enjoying watching the Warriors play basketball, which, if anybody following Gotham, you obviously know this, that has truly not
Uh,
been the case in 25 months. Okay, 26, 27 months, however long it's been. Um, I can leave. They've only lost once, but I can leave an L right now, not feeling like, uh,
I hate this team.
yeah, like true, like visceral and violent hatred. You know what I mean? They're
Yep.
fun. They're a fun team, so I'm truly looking for. I look forward to every game. I'm excited to watch every game. Um, that's it. Like I appreciate what's going on right now. I'm going to no matter what happens. That's not true. That's not fucking true at all. As of right now, though, I am enjoying this team a lot. Gotham, what about you, man?
Love it, man. No, I'm with you. Warriors, it's been fun. It's been good stuff. Look out, Chuckster's got some pieces coming together. At Switch Theory, so check those out. We'll shout those out on the next one. We'll look out. We are actually doing a Thunder. We got our first guest this season. Thunder Film Room. This one's going to be out by the time that would drop. So we're getting our guy on to break down this Thunder game that's coming up and really dive into how the Warriors beat them, but just what how serious this OKC team feels about their chances to finally bring one home in this iteration of the Thunder. So that's gonna be a fun one. So check that one out. Niners bye week, got the Bucks this weekend, so get back on track, get some healthy guys back. But until then, guys, keep following, keep checking us out. As always, just let us know if you guys want to hop on. I would love to talk Dubs. Any other team, Niners, whatever it is, man. You guys come here to talk about it. But until the next episode, guys. Peace.